Alrighty guys, welcome back to another video, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you guys some cool tips and tricks with working with rows and columns, some cool things that I didn't show you yet. The first being how to insert a new row and a new column. So you may be thinking, okay, Bucky, I already know anytime I want to insert a new row I'm just going to scroll to the end and do something like this. Type in all my data. This hockey player is named Bucky Roberts, the greatest hockey player of all time. However, there are some cases where you don't want to do this. And the reason is this. Even though this may look kind of random at first glance, it's actually sorted by salary, the highest to the lowest. So if we have a player that costs somewhere around $5,000, we don't want to insert it into the end right here. We actually need to insert a row right in between these two players. So how do we do that? Well, it's actually really easy. All you do is you select the row that you want to insert a new one above, right click it, and hit insert. And since you have a row selected, it automatically knows, okay, you're going to insert a new row. For a column, it's pretty much the same thing, but it automatically detects that you have a column selected, so when you hit insert, it inserts a new column. Control Z to get rid of that. So that is how you insert a new row and a new column. Now remember, just like before, I think I already told you guys how to delete stuff inside a row. Anytime you want to delete the data inside a row, just go ahead and select it and hit delete. Now again, that doesn't actually delete the row itself, it just clears out all of the data that was in that row. If you ever have an accidental blank row, or maybe you just need to get rid of the row altogether, then you need to right click it and actually select delete. So again, the delete button on your keyboard clears out all the data inside the cells. Right clicking and delete actually wipes out or deletes the entire row. So that's the difference between the two. Now, before I move on to kind of the next concept, I want to show you guys a cool trick of resizing columns. So we already know a couple different ways that we can resize columns. We can of course double click to fit to the data. We can also drag that manually. But there are going to be times where you have a couple different columns and you want to make them all the same exact size. So what you can do is this. You can select multiple columns by either clicking one and dragging it to select. And another cool way that you can select multiple columns that don't touch each other is if you select one column and hold down Control on your keyboard, you can actually click and select the columns that don't touch each other. But anyways, let's just say that we want to have these three columns be all the same size. So we can either go stretch this one to, I don't know, like 150, and then we can do it with this. Obviously taking a long time. So what's the shortcut? If we select all of these and then we just go ahead and resize it to something like, I don't know, 150 pixels, check that out. We just resized three columns in one fell sweep at once, saved us a bunch of time. So that, my friends, is not only how you insert rows and columns, but also how you can resize multiple columns at once. Pretty sweet. So now, since I have a few more minutes, I'll show you guys some other cool ways that you can select particular types of data. Now, of course, we know that we can select one type of data just by clicking it, and also a range of data by dragging. But there are going to come times where we want to select, I don't even know how to say it, like special types of data. For instance, we're going to want to select all the numbers in our spreadsheet. So what we can do is we can go through and look and say, okay, this is a number, so I'm going to select this and this. However, even though this may look kind of like a big spreadsheet at first, since we're just new to Microsoft Excel, this is actually a really small one. Some spreadsheets have hundreds of columns, hundreds of rows, so on and so forth. So if we ever wanted to format all the numbers, it could take like an hour to select everything, unless we had a shortcut, and that's this. If we're in our home and we go over to the editing panel, look at this thing that says find and select, and from the drop down list, if you click this little arrow, hit go to special. What this allows you to do is select a special set of data. So if we ever want to just say select all the numbers, then click on constants and uncheck everything except numbers. And what this is going to do is it's pretty much going to select, as you can see right here, all of the numbers. Hit OK, and look what happens. All of the numbers in our spreadsheet are selected. Saved us a bunch of time. We don't have to do anything manually, and it did it perfectly. How awesome is that? So that is how we select all numbers. Now we can do something like, I know I didn't show you guys how to like make a fill color, but if we ever want to like bold all the numbers, pretty sweet.